It was the 22nd of August, 2025, when police in the United States received a call. Reports of something suspicious. When officers arrived, the scene they walked into was horrifying. Inside, they found the lifeless body of Iryna Zarutska. The circumstances left no doubt. This was no accident. It was murder. Neighbors recalled confusion, flashing lights, the heavy silence that always comes after tragedy. For those who lived nearby, it was the kind of night that haunts you. One moment, life feels ordinary. The next, you're watching a crime scene unfold just a few doors away. Word spread fast, first through local news, then through social media. And soon, the world knew that a Ukrainian refugee who had already survived war had been killed in America. Police wasted no time piecing together what happened. They canvassed the neighborhood, spoke to witnesses, collected surveillance footage. Neighbors reported hearing noises. Some saw a man in the area earlier that day. Step by step, investigators built a picture of what may have happened. The trail quickly led to a name: Decarlos Brown Jr., 30 years old. Detectives tracked him down. According to reports, he was arrested after stepping off a train, taken into custody without incident. The charge? First-degree murder. Prosecutors were confident in their case. Evidence tied him to the scene. Witness accounts backed it up. But what no one could fully answer was why. Why Iryna? Why this act of senseless violence? Only after the headlines did the world begin to learn who she really was. Iryna wasn't just a victim. She was a woman who had already endured more than most people could imagine. When Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022, her life turned upside down. Bombs fell, cities burned, millions fled, and among them was Iryna. She left her homeland with little more than hope. She crossed borders crowded with refugees, waited in endless lines, and faced the uncertainty of never knowing where she would end up. Through a refugee program, the United States became her destination. For Iryna, it was supposed to be a fresh start, but starting over was never easy. A new country, a new language, a life where she had to begin again from nothing. Friends say she worked hard. She smiled often. She carried the scars of war, but she also carried determination. She had escaped the chaos of Ukraine, only to fall victim to chaos in America. The news of Iryna's murder sent shockwaves far beyond the crime scene. In Ukraine, people were devastated. Here was a woman who had survived bombs and bullets, only to be killed in the land of the free. Many saw it as a betrayal of the promise that Western nations offered: safety and protection for those who fled the war. In the United States, her death sparked debate. Was this a story of random violence? Or did it reveal deeper failures in protecting vulnerable refugees? Community groups rallied. Candlelight vigils were held in her memory. Ukrainian American organizations demanded answers. For them, Iryna's death wasn't just another statistic. It was a reminder of how fragile safety truly is. Politicians weighed in. Some pointed to crime in American cities. Others raised questions about whether refugees are given enough support to navigate their new lives. But underneath the politics was something more human: grief. A shared sense of sorrow that someone who had already endured so much was forced to endure more. Iryna's case is not just about one woman. It shines a light on something much larger. Refugees leave everything behind for one reason: survival. They walk away from homes, jobs, and families because staying means death. And when they reach countries like the United States, they believe the nightmare is over. But Iryna's murder reminds us that safety isn't guaranteed, that even here, violence can still find them. Her story forces us to ask difficult questions. How safe are refugees when they arrive? Do we provide enough protection, enough resources, enough care? Or do we leave them vulnerable in a new land, alone and exposed? Meanwhile, the case against Decarlos Brown Jr. moves through the courts. He faces first-degree murder charges. If convicted, he could spend the rest of his life in prison. Prosecutors say the evidence is strong, but as the legal process unfolds, motions, hearings, trials, the pain for Iryna's loved ones never goes away. For them, no prison sentence can equal justice, because justice would have been Iryna living the life she deserved. Justice would have been her chance to rebuild, to love, to grow old. That chance was taken forever. The murder of Iryna Zarutska is more than a crime story. It is a tragedy that crosses borders. She survived war, but she couldn't escape violence. She trusted in safety, but safety betrayed her. Her name deserves to be remembered, not just as another headline, but as a symbol of resilience, hope, and heartbreak. Because behind every refugee statistic is a person, a dreamer, a survivor, a heartbeat that matters. So, as we remember Iryna, we are left with one haunting question. If even the survivors of war aren't safe here, then who is?